I was thinking about it. I have material. I just read from you something I believe that will be published from Scars Publications this week in depth. There is another volume 5 of Bosley's comments in cc&d, and it's called On the Edge. It is not out yet. It has to go out for another proof copy, but it will be out in the next few months. And I was thinking, oh, I'll share with you things from this, even though it's not even released yet. But I don't think I'll do that for you, because I think Tom would appreciate if I take things from this cc&d collection book, issue collection book, that was just recently published for the first 4 issues of cc&d in 2018, called Not Age Race. And it has a number of performance art pieces in it, and I think Tom would like it if I would do some peace poems that happen to be in this thing. Oh, yeah, I think he said he would like that, so I was going to pull up some peace poems for you.
Yay, thank you.
Yay! So this is from a performance art show, but it doesn't matter to you from what. This is the first piece that is called Protecting the Peace Can Put You in Prison. The first Nobel Peace Prize was granted in 1901. The first Nobel Peace Prize laureate to die in prison was Karl von Ossietzky, detained by Nazi Germany. He died in prison in 1938. But there's a new death, do not fret, because it seems that peace can be squashed in any millennium. Do you remember the Tiananmen Square riots back in 1989, or at least that iconic picked photo of a student in front of a tank? Well, the students didn't battle the Chinese government on their own and win. They had the help from Liu Xiaobo. This man was for peace and was revered for his work. But the Chinese government stopped him in 2008 because he was drafting and promoting a manifesto promoting peaceful political change. And for that, the Chinese government imprisoned him for subversion. Yes, for subversion. For subversion, this man was sentenced to 11 years in prison, and it was while in prison that he was granted the Nobel Peace Prize. In fact, during the Oslo Awards ceremony, they left an empty chair, like you can see in front of you here, they left an empty chair for their imprisoned man of honor. But now the Chinese government bears responsibility more than for imprisoning a Nobel Prize laureate who is only promoting peaceful politics, but for failure to properly diagnose and treat his ailments. Because on July 13th, 2017, the imprisoned Peace Prize winner died in detention of liver cancer at age 61. And sure, we can look around the room and think that we are nice to other people, and that we respect other people. And we may think that when we look around the other room that other people feel the same way toward us. And it's wonderful to surround yourself with people like you, who think like you, who cushion you from anyone who may think differently. Because when you stay in your bubble, everything seems fine. But it's only when we see those who choose to fight, those who are trounced upon and downtrodden, only because they support a peaceful coexistence, that staying with supporters is seldom the solution. Peace with the ones you choose to know is one thing. Peace with a mortal enemy is another, when the others decide that you're at fault for some unknown reason. So maybe the key to promoting peace is not to share ideas with those like-minded souls you're near, but to find people least like you, religiously, racially, politically, and then just extend your hand in peace, and then see who will take your hand. That's what I get for giving you a message with your peace. This one, I had one about my mom, and it's called Really Physically Heal, 2017 edit, which is fitting that I said I was going as Mulder and Scully this year, because I talk about X-Files in this thing. I'm an X-Files junkie, still, years after the series finale. And I just remember that I watching one of my favorite episodes where Scully, the female, meets a woman affiliated with the American Taoist Healing Center, even though Scully is a medical doctor and a scientist. She had asked about a friend who is ill. You see, he had heart problems, and this man, this medical doctor, analyzed his symptoms and admitted himself into the hospital. And shortly after he was admitted, he almost died, but was saved. Well, Scully asked this woman if he could be dying from some more serious conditions, from something that maybe his soul might not need to actually be settled. And this woman that worked with the Taoist Healing Center told Scully that she used to be a physicist. She was successful, and that all that time she thought she was so happy that she was only cutting herself off from the rest of the world, and she was dying inside. She was in a relationship with another woman, but she couldn't tell anyone about it for fear of their reactions. And eventually she found out that she had breast cancer. And although the cancer is bad, the woman said it was the cancer that got her attention when she then saw the destructive life she had led. So after seeing a healer who taught her to let go of her shame and finally be at peace, well, that's when the cancer went into remission. And everyone looks for answers to problems we package into a nice little box with a little bow on top that you can just make everything better with. But it takes a lifetime of understanding to be not able to not let illness affect you that way. And I've seen this episode before, but seeing it now in these circumstances, knowing that my mother was dying from cancer and there was nothing I could do about it, well, hearing this fictional woman say these words made me almost think, maybe almost start to panic.
Have you operated at the back counter?
Because maybe my mother had lived parts of her life that she didn't like, that she didn't want, and that she didn't want to live, but they had to because this was a part of her life, and she had a role to play. I know she loves her husband, and I know she loves her children, but I really started thinking that maybe there were things unsettled in her psyche that she now needs to make better in order to be able to really physically heal. I told my husband about this X-Files episode, and I told my husband what I thought, that maybe that there was something more that had to be settled within her life, in her soul. Maybe she had to come to peace with some unknown something. And he looked at my doe eyes and said, "Janet, no." He said, "I'm sure she doesn't feel anything like that. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws. Maybe because she's still fighting that cancer and she's now wanting to die. But I want to be that crazy one, exhausting every source, investigating every option. I'll take an idea from a TV show. I'll take anything I can get." Because it just made me think that maybe the key is coming to peace with everything in your life. Maybe then all the demons will go away.
She's gone now, isn't she?
Yeah, she passed away. Yeah, and there's another one that's about my father and passing, and I'm going to pass that one because
that one almost made me cry. She just read. This one's not sad like that, is it?
Well, no.
Watch out!
My dad is not as bad.
Turns the
No,
teardrops on.
no, it's not as bad about my dad, and it shows him coming to peace with me, and it's nothing about. Would you like to hear that one about my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Ahead.
I was gonna say I will.
I was able to hold back because my mother passed away of cancer in May.
Oh.
Well, dementia.
The terrible thing was when I went to see her, they had told her, she's like, "I don't want to do anymore." The second round of chemo didn't work. She went back into remission. And he's like, "Well, we can do other things." And she's like, "I don't want any more." And he's like, "Okay, if we just take care of you, we probably have 6 months or longer." And I was told this, and I'm with her in the hospital. I'm like, your father had cancer. And how long did he live? And 6 years. And I'm like, exactly. I mean, this is something that we could deal with and fight. And I couldn't remember at that time when I had said that she had had the hardest time watching him suffer for those 6 years. And that she had actually the last 2 weeks almost wanted to pray for him to die just so he wouldn't be in pain. And I was like, I don't know what to say or do. And she's just, it was 3 months and she's like, let me just let it go. But the dad's one's not like that.
Okay.
Totally. It's called Keeping the Peace and Coming to Peace. My father was a stern man. Wait, that doesn't sound nice. But these are the thoughts of a little girl afraid to confront this boisterous, booming voice behind this judgmental man. So she learned to avoid him just in an effort to keep the peace. And the last time she saw her father alive, she was still trying to keep the peace when he yelled at both her and the medical technicians at the doctor's office for tests. But Even she noticed that he then apologized repeatedly for yelling at her. And then afterwards, this Lifetime concrete construction company owner saw a TV show on buildings around the world that were engineering feats. And she saw him and she recognized one high-rise and said, "I photographed that." And he seemed a bit concerned because this was a building that was in Shanghai, China. So the father kept watching, and the daughter found the art book that she had given him of her photos. She walked back in, holding the book that he had never opened to the building in question, and then handed him the book and said, "See?" before she walked back to her chair. So she watched the rest of that building show things around the world, and the father just started flipping through the pages more and more slowly, looked at images from around the world, at portraits of his daughter, to her models. "I was just looking to see if I recognized anyone," the father said, at the portrait of people looking before he actually said to her, "You know, you're very good at this. You're very creative." And with this, he stopped speaking. And the daughter only said, "Thank you," before she took the book back and put it on the shelf. The book that she got back weeks after he died. Looking back at all the daughter could think was that this might have been the father's only way to come to peace with their lifetime of subliminal tension, that this was this last night together that may have been his only way to connect with his youngest daughter, and his only way to come to peace. I get on the last one if you'd like to hear on a high horse like this. He's in a world.
I've
Oh, you
got
heard
another
about me?
appointment on the way up for me. We'll catch y'all again.
If you
Thank
quick.
you.
It's been awesome.
Whoa, hang on. This one's.
My dad has Alzheimer's right now. He's kind of on his last leg, so it's discussion. And I also just lost my mother-in-law today, so he's feeling all which is fun.
Thank you guys for coming.
The other thing is recently gentle.
Please come back. First Wednesday is Oh, thank you. Also, both of your reads are Oh, thank you.
Very good.
And that's why I thought I would end with this one poem as they go, and then the rest of the night's with you guys.
Sure.
Perfect. Oh, I like this one because I usually don't write vegetarian ones. This one's called On a High Horse Like This. I listened to a hunter from Africa say, "All life is sacred." And he said this after separating a small, thin, non-venomous snake from around a large African hawk-like bird's neck. Because you see, the bird attacks snakes, but that snake couldn't eat this large bird once it died. That would have been a senseless death. All life is sacred, you say. So I couldn't help but think, as a hunter, do you pray for the sacred dead after you've killed it? I mean, I don't usually vocalize when I'm on a high horse like this. And I've had to explain myself to meteors that, no, these aren't leather shoes I wear. I'm a vegetarian, though I still have to feign a smile. Though I still have to feign a smile to commiserate with men eating slaughtered animal. Because, you see, I'd look like a fool for having beliefs people don't want to hear about. They don't want to hear about a choice, a moral choice that might be different from their own. I mean, you know, we're Americans. If it's not human or maybe a dog or a cat, eat it. It's that simple. But I married a Marine, a hunter who had served our country as a Marine, and he told me that every time he killed an animal, a part of him felt a regretful twinge of pain once he had killed his prey. A prey that he searched for with weapons that he could use before anything got close enough to be an enemy. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting on my high horse again. It's convenient that people can get their kill from a grocery store without having to get any blood on their hands.
You're wonderful.
Anything to stop everyone from thinking about what they're doing. Because I've heard that killing something makes you feel something. And I thought,
Yeah. See, leaves you hanging, doesn't it?
thank you.